What's going on, veterans? JB coming to you live on Monday. It's October the 3rd, 2022. And something came to mind. I asked myself, if I had to start the VA disability process all over, what is the first thing that I would do? Well, considering the years that I served from 1991 to 1995, there's no possible way that I could remember my electronic health record when I served active duty. Okay, a lot of veterans right now are filing claims without knowing every aspect of their service treatment records. I know I mentioned electronic health record. Right now it may be electronic since I've been in the business. I mean, since I've been out the military, they might have electronic records now at the Department of Defense. They may or may not, but anyway, the service treatment records are now being shipped out on CD-ROMs, whereas when I got out, it was just a file of papers. So the first thing I would do is I would submit for my service treatment records of when I served active duty. Because I don't care if you served 5 years ago, you're still gonna need the exact dates of injuries, excuse me, when they occurred serving active duty. The date the incidents occurred, or the date you went to sick call. It's a chronological health record that's at the personnel records, the National Archives. If you're still trying to wonder out what you should do, go to VA form SF Sierra Foxtrot 180. VA form Sierra Foxtrot 180. Download that form and submit for your medical and dental records. And if you don't have a DD-214, submit for that, because you're going to need that to submit the claim. So the first thing I would do is do that, and I would put on there Hurricane Ian to expedite the process, because normally it takes 3 to 6 months. You've been impacted by the hurricane, the storms recently just passed by, and shout out to all the families that has been impacted. I hope your family is intact, and hope you didn't lose any property. My heart goes out to you. So that's the first thing I would do. And then regardless of what you're suffering with now, privately or publicly with the VA healthcare system, I would definitely get that health record. I will also make sure that my current diagnoses are already on the problem list at the VA. If they're not, go ahead and get that done. Get all your diagnoses on paper, electronically with the VA electronic health record. If you despise the VA and you just going to private doctors, make sure you got all your electronic documentation for for diagnosis, because these are the things that you're going to be linking back to your service treatment records. Okay, so that's the first element of service connection, is diagnosis. You got to get that on paper. Stop being fickle. Stop waiting on the CMP examiner to diagnose you. A lot of people are filing claims without meeting element number 1. Why even complicate this if you know it's a cumbersome system? All right, exit 26, 27. I'm gonna take this exit coming up. Bear with me. I don't want to get lost going on to the gun range here. I'm going to exit 26, 27. And it's telling me to get off now here. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So the first thing first thing is the service treatment records. The second thing, I will get my diagnosis current on record within the last 12 months. And then the second element of service connection, you got to have the in-service event to file for direct service connection. So you're going to identify in your service treatment records your no-shave chit, if you got that, a twisted ankle, whatever happened. Make sure you got the current diagnosis for that. So, the doctors that you got to see, for the nexus, the medical nexus with rationale, in order for them to be able to write you a nexus, they got to see that you had the injury from the military and you're currently being seen for the same thing. Doesn't it make sense? So the law is not really complicated. It's just the fact it comes from a lot of people being totally ignorant to Title 38 Part 4, and they make it hard. It's not hard at all. All you got to do is make sure that your current diagnosis matches the same thing that you're suffering with back in the military. And so that makes it easy for your doctor your specialist to make the determination with the medical rationale, okay? That way, you got a solid link, a solid medical link, because all the medical nexus is, it's a link. Linking your current diagnosis to your old injuries, okay? That means you still suffering with, I don't care how many years it is, man, there's no statute of limitations. So let's not make it hard with just connecting the dots. And so what makes us unique, VA, with filing a VA disability, when you do a consultation with us, we're going to help you make it plain for you, give you a game plan on what you need to do next after the call, all right? And then we're going to coach you along the process. You're going through a process of getting your current disability service connected, and then you're going through the process of using the power of secondary claims to increase that high value claim, okay? And so you got to understand that's what the path is, and you got to stay focused. We're going to coach you every step of the way to get your nexus. Once you get your nexus back, we're going to coach you on putting the paperwork together as far as your statement in support of claims, your lay statements, your legal court cases. This supports your secondary claims. We're going to help you get the library of medicine information. All of those things, it's like ingredients into making this award-winning recipe, okay? Like mom's spaghetti that Eminem always talk about, okay? So that's what I would do. And then we can even go a step further. Once we submit the paperwork to the VA, you're going to get communication back from the VA to tell you when your CMP exam, that's that duty to assist, to examine you to make sure that you're pretty much truthful about your claim. You know, because the era of doubt, they're dealing with doubt. They're going to doubt you first before they believe you. So they want to do a duty to assist to examine you for your diagnosis, examine you for your disabilities, the severities of the disabilities, and then their job is to make an opinion, okay? And you don't have to worry if you know the law. Whenever you got a negative opinion from a CMP examiner and you got a positive CMP exam, a positive opinion from your private doctor with that rationale and all of the other evidence, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna win. There's very few times where I have seen, the CMP examiner rule against it, unless they make an error. Now, they do make errors. They're humans. Clear and mistakable errors are there, okay? So there's a process to handle that. So you guys gotta understand, you're going into the biggest fight. This is a heavyweight fight with someone that hits harder than Mike Tyson, and you gotta hit even harder by getting your evidence, by having someone to connect the dots, to get everything that you need to have a solid service connection, number one, and number two, a high value claim. What do I consider as a high value claim? Anywhere from 80 to 100%. Not everybody that do consults with us is gonna get 100%, let's face it. That's not possible, okay? But we have a high number of veterans that are receiving high value claims. We do have a high number of veterans that are receiving 100% service connections, and not only 100%, but permanent and total, okay? If you're on the fence and you're tired of the VA, you're like, I don't want to poke the bear no more, I'm sick and tired of it, that's something that you got to look yourself in the eye and say, you know what, I'm lazy. And I'm going to continue to work my ass off for this linear income, because I don't want to do this one thing one time to get a high value claim. But you got to continue to go to that job week after week, month after month, year after year for that taxable linear income. I think the question that I would ask myself, why would I not go after passive income? Because I'm going to get older, I'm going to get weaker, and I do need more income. Things are getting more expensive in the marketplace, and you serve this country and you're owed these benefits because you were injured. Why not? Okay? So if I had to start all over again, I would do the same process over and over again. Even if I didn't have any insurance. At the time that I filed, I didn't have any insurance. So I used the VA healthcare to get the diagnosis done, to get all that stuff. I went to the VA, got the diagnosis, got the exams, got all that stuff, sleep study tests, everything. And then I went to the outside private doctors that was willing to be veteran friendly and willing to help us connect the dots with the nexus. That's the hardest part of the VA disability process, because these doctors getting paid $500,000 a year, or anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 a year just to write prescriptions and book the next appointment. They don't want to get off the podium, if you will, and go get that secretarial hat on and look at some records from 24 years ago and look at your current diagnosis from the VA or your private doctor, come to him and expect him to write you a very thorough VA compliant medical nexus that you're going to win your claim. You can't expect, not for $300, not for $500, when they're already rich. If you're making $300,000 or more per annum year, you are technically rich. Let's face it, anywhere in America, if you're making $300,000 a year or more, you're technically rich, because the cost of living really can't touch you. So with that being said, I'm signing off. I'm on my way to the gun range on a Monday. It's lunchtime. Hope you guys have a blessed fourth quarter, October, November, December. You got less than 90 days for 2023 new rates for VA combined ratings. The rates are going to go up about 8%. I think 7.87% is the more accurate percentage that we're going to go up. We'll see in January. I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you so much for watching. And if you need a free consultation, I encourage you right now, stop watching, start typing newlifeveterans.com to get your free consultation today, okay? Talk to you soon.